from a long-term perspective, I think the secular trend that we are heading to 10 trillion and beyond is just it's just there.
10 trillion. Okay, hold on. Let's pull up the chart for that. I love that. I love that prediction. I don't know if you want to call it that. Let's look at the actual total crypto market cap, which currently today, look at that volatility in the last couple of weeks is something else though. It currently sits at 3.67 trillion. So you think that why do you pick something like 10 trillion as a number?
I think it's pretty much consensus among like all the top traders and all analysts. Like I'm just taking what they think that's going to happen, because I like personally, I don't know how they came up with number around 8 or 10 trillion. So I'm just like taking what like the consensus is, and I feel quite confident we can get there too. Like it's 2x from here, 2.5x from here. So that seems quite reasonable to me.
Let's see. Let's just put it on the chart. Let's see what that exact. Yeah, so 175% gain from here. We would be adding 6.36 trillion from right now to get to 10 trillion. If you had to, so I like listen. I know you hate to actually like put anything down on the map or like make a specific prediction. If we were to hit 10 trillion as a market cap, and now we've just turned this into like the Giga Bullish podcast, which is kind of my intent. When do you think that this would happen? Realistically, right? Like this won't happen next week, right? And it's very unlikely to happen in November. But if it were to happen in the next 18 months, is that possible? And okay, yes, confident, yes. When would that be? Is that like a Q1 thing?
I guess a little later. I'm still not sure if we are gonna really see like very extended period where, again, we are gonna just keep running up and everything will still be slow and smooth, or if we are really gonna see some acceleration. But I like at this point, I think we are gonna see top in 2026.
So what would make you think that it's a top? Like what would quantify it being a top?
When macro indicators would be suggesting, okay, the economy is now not doing so well, so we might be in troubles, and it will just drive all the things in macro and in economy, which will be reflected in the prices of stocks as well as crypto.
Why do people invest in real estate? Because it spits off cash flow. But I'm not here to manage rental properties. That's why I'm looking at Figure Markets. Their new democratized prime product backs your money with real cash flowing assets and returns up to 9% APY. It's the first real world asset borrow lend pool built for everyone, not just institutions. Ready to lend like a bank and get more than the 5% Aave is offering you? Download the Figure Markets app today and get 9% on your idle funds. Go to milkroad.com/Figure Markets.
What are what are those indicators? Like I'm a DGen man. I just look at like when the price swings down 30% in 2 minutes, that's when I get out. That's not going to happen in crypto.
Yeah. What's happening right now is that all the central banks are just trying to run the economy hot, which means inflation is going up, unemployment is going up, stocks are going up. So those are usually not times when central banks need to do cuts, and yet we see cuts, and there are many more cuts coming. So it means that central banks want to support another growth to the economy, and we also got some signals from Powell that QT, quantitative tightening, is going to end quite soon, and there are already some rumors like, okay, we are going to see quantitative easing, and if so, how is it going to look like? Is it going to be turbo quantitative easing as we saw in the previous cycle, or is it going to be like more slow? We don't know, and I guess the plan is like it's going to be much more muted than the turbo. It's going to be like a slower quantitative easing, and if something breaks or there is real need to like act and do something, then we are gonna see turbo QE again. So like I think the whole sort of spectrum of indicators and macro analysts and experts, they are all on the same boat pretty much. So I'm not the only one saying like, hey, macro is bullish, so I think the markets are bullish too.
Can you give us insight into the last cycle? And did we have similar indicators for being bullish and for tops? And are there any parallels to draw from then to today?
Well, I think the previous cycle was, I would say, a little different, and it's now we are in totally different regime. And the previous cycle there was COVID, so it wasn't like a normal cycle because there were some external sort of factors that affected the business cycle and what was going on. But I think in general, the market and the structure of the market and the participants that are involved is completely different. So it's sort of providing more robust and sort of a floor for crypto to not experience 90% drawdowns again. But I think the macro indicators are gonna be a good sort of signals to get a sense where we are in that business cycle. So it's happening like all the time. Or you can just use the global liquidity or ISM or those kind of indicators. And if you look at the previous cycles, they were pretty close to give you a message like, okay, now you should pay attention and maybe take some profits from the table. But none of them is showing that yet.
So, okay, I think that's really fair, and especially the COVID part, and also the institutional part, and the probably lack of potential future legislation or regulation coming down. Because I feel like in the last cycle, it's like, especially after FTX, it was like, well, now a lot of bad actors are going to be hunted, versus now we're in an environment where those bad actors are coming back with CZ. Well, maybe not bad actor. I don't know. That's maybe contentious. I want to ask you about that. That's some of the big news from this week, is that CZ has been pardoned. Did you expect something like that? What kind of impact does that have? Is Binance going to come back to the US? Like what's going to happen from that?
Man, I have no idea. Like, I don't follow these. I don't like that guy. I know that he donated some money to Trump, so I guess that there's a deal. But outside of that, I don't really care.
Last cycle, one thing that I found drove a lot of the narrative were these kind of like big positive catalysts, right? Of certain banks or credit cards taking on payments or whatever. These days, I feel like we have an abundance of those. And one that you pointed out to our team earlier was that David Sachs, who's the crypto czar for Trump, said that crypto market structure legislation will pass this year, despite the government being shut down. There's lots of other stuff coming in. Like even today, JP Morgan is going to allow Bitcoin and Ethereum as collateral. Do these even mean anything to you at this point, given that they are, they come in this long line of adoption headlines?
Yes, I think those are the most important headlines, but people are ignoring them because they do not have short-term impact on the prices. So who cares? Well, today nobody cares, but like those things have long-term standing compounding effects to the industry. So as I said, like we might hit 10 trillion, but then we are not going down to 1 trillion again. And that's because like the structure of the market is going to be completely different. So if JP Morgan or every other bank is going to offer their customers access to crypto, that's a huge thing, and yeah, like just putting small pieces together and everything that if you can put like hundreds of headlines that are just saying like, okay, we are adopting crypto. Okay, there is going to be new regulation because we want more clarity for institutions to adapt this new technology and stuff like that. You can see the headlines pretty much every day. And that's what's been building the foundation for this whole industry. And from there, it like the only way is up. Like we are not gonna down anytime. Like, well, again, if Trump says something, but like, again, I'm bullish.
Is that everybody says that there's some strategy there involved, that it's, maybe Trump is purposely dumping the market so they can buy more? Like what is your take on like the actual background story of these trade wars? Because there's obviously more than meets the eye than just the headlines.
I think that Trump is just trying to get more power on the table. Like when they have those negotiations, he's sort of a guy when, okay, I'm gonna sit with you on the table, but I want to be in a better position. So he's sort of preparing the field for those negotiations. And like, we are America, so like just take us seriously, and we are not here just to make fun and like, hey guys, it's gonna be played by our rules. So sort of that position. But even Trump, like his agenda is that markets should go up, and everyone wants that. So we are on there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Want insights on what's moving crypto markets and how we're trading each event? Subscribe to our channel and join the Milk Road Daily and Pro newsletters and start investing like the top 1%. This show is for educational purposes only. Nothing we say is financial advice. Investing is risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.